If you're already in or interested in the cash-based out-of-network private practice model, then this is an extremely important video, because while most of the benefits and challenges are pretty widely known, there are some lesser known ones that are just as dangerous or just as lucrative, and what you don't know can in fact hurt you. So in this video, you're going to learn one lesser known but incredibly powerful benefit of the out-of-network or cash-based practice model. And then I'm going to tell you one of the lesser known but increasingly damaging, increasingly dangerous challenges of this model. Welcome to today's episode. My name is Jared Carter. I'm a physical therapist, a successful cash-based practice owner since 2010, and the creator of the Private Pay Profit Formula. I help my healthcare colleagues just like you to create your own cash-based, out-of-network, or concierge practice so you can end reliance on greedy insurance companies, provide a level of care you are ultimately proud of, and regain control of your profits and your future. So if you're new here and you haven't already subscribed, I really would suggest it, because I put out free trainings like this very frequently, and they always have a free resource associated with them designed to get you results faster. And the free resource for this episode are 15 lesser known ways that cash practices are commanding top dollar for their services. You can download it at drjaredcarter.com/episode 30. And as you'll hear in a moment, it is very, very relevant to that lesser known challenge of the cash-based practice model. Okay, let's dig in. The lesser known benefit of the cash-based out-of-network practice model is that you have so much more flexibility in the services that you can offer and your ability to sell those services, complementary services, as well as kind of sub-business models like maintenance programs and memberships. So let me explain a little further. You already have a customer base that are paying out of pocket for top-level healthcare services. That type of customer base is way more likely to be, one, spending money on other complementary services elsewhere that they would then get at your practice instead. But in that mode of paying more out of pocket for health and wellness and fitness services. And so, of course, it depends on the field of healthcare that you're in and the niche and audience that you already serve. But in general, like we took the example of physical therapy, it becomes very easy for a cash-based physical therapy practice to add things in like cryo chambers or cryotherapy services, other types of recovery services, compression boots, the infrared sauna, all the things that are all kind of the rage these days. Even things like vitamin drips and IV hydration. In some states it's probably not allowed, but in most states it probably is, that you just have the right professional providing the actual IV drip. So just get creative, think about your niche, think about the customers you already have and what they're asking. What are they, doing outside? Are they spending a lot of money on personal training? Are they going to med spas? When they're there, what are they doing? What are they getting? Are they going to functional medicine docs and getting all kinds of IV hydration stuff, or whatever the case may be? But survey your audience and your customer base and see what are the things that I could easily add in as complementary services and increase my revenue and profits. And don't forget about things like personal training, yoga, Pilates, group-based fitness, or maybe you serve the running niche or a certain niche and you can create communities within that niche where they pay for information or different types of treatment services. Again, get creative with it. Massage, there's all kinds of things. It's really endless what you could consider adding to your practice. But when they check those boxes of they're already paying for it elsewhere, it's congruent with what you're already providing, it's probably going to be something that really does help you to add some revenue and profit to your business. And then going back to maintenance programs and memberships, I have a mastermind coaching client right now that nearly 20% of their 7-figure revenue cash-based practice, they're actually partially in network. They're in network with one insurance right now, going to be dropping that soon. But nearly 20%, even being partially in network, of their revenue is in memberships. So, if you think about it, how would you like over $150,000 a year in repeating, recurring, predictable revenue from membership programs? It is a game changer when you add that kind of stability to your practice. And in this model, in the out-of-network cash-based model, that's when these things become so much more attainable compared to if you're predominantly in network with insurances. Because again, when you have a customer base that's already paying out of pocket more for your services, that same person, like I'm not saying that everyone going to an insurance-based practice is cheap or would never pay out of pocket for those things. They're just not going to be as easy to get to say yes to paying for it from you in your practice. They might be going to the WellMed or to the cryo chamber or whatever elsewhere, but in their mind, everything associated with your practice is insurance-based, right? If you're an in-network practice. But when that's not the case, and your customer base associates you with providing a top-level service that's out of pocket and not insurance-based, then that mindset, that framing that they have about your practice, it makes it totally possible now and much easier to sell them on other things that they would benefit from and that they would enjoy. All right, now let's get into that lesser known challenge. And this is something that hasn't always been a challenge for cash-based practices. 5 and even certainly 10 years ago, it really wasn't a challenge. And what it is that this model is becoming so popular because things are getting so bad for insurance-based practices that the cash-based practice competition for your cash-based practice is growing exponentially. I mean, there's so many more cash-based practices hitting the scene all the time. You see it yourself if you're already in practice. If you're watching this, you're potentially considering becoming one if you're not already a practice owner right now or a cash-based practice owner right now. And it's also evidence when you see a new person online like me who has had a cash-based practice for 1 or 2 years, and all of a sudden they're like a cash-based guru and coach. Yeah, as a side note, if you're looking at coaching, make sure you figure out how much experience that person actually has, not only in their own practice, but in helping other people to have a successful and grow a successful cash-based practice, because it is pretty insane what I'm seeing hit the scene these days. And as someone who's been doing it since 2010, it kind of just makes me shake my head. I'll get down off my soapbox now and get back to the lesser known challenge, but I just wanted to mention that because I see a lot of bad advice being given. Okay, so when I started my practice in 2010, just offering 1 hour one-on-one sessions with the patients was enough to differentiate myself from the other competition, which was 99% of it was insurance-based, right? That was enough to really gain a word-of-mouth following to keep me and another provider pretty busy. And so that's completely changed, right? You can't just offer longer one-on-one appointments. You've got to elevate your care and the overall experience for your patients in many, many ways if you want to really differentiate yourself from all of the competition, especially all of the new cash-based competition hitting the market these days. I mean, they are marketing hard, and they're often, especially the newer practices, charging far less than the established cash-based practices are. And so there's a bit of price competition along with them really, really hustling. And you might find that word of mouth used to work, and it's just not enough to keep your schedule full, especially if you have a few other providers working with you like I do. So to this point and with this challenge, I want to just repeat, make sure that you go to drjaredcarter.com/episode 30 and download that free resource. It's going to give you a long list of things that you can do to elevate the overall experience that you're providing to your customers, differentiate yourself from the competition, rise above them, and continue to get plenty of leads and patients in the door willing to pay out of pocket for your experience, not the cash-based experience just down the road. So there you have it, a lesser known benefit and a lesser known challenge of the cash-based practice model. If you appreciated this information, got anything important from this, and you feel like anyone else in your network might as well, please share this with them, tag them. And I love any comments, any questions you have, drop them below. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode.